6 months passed since Daniel's death. Jack's ship drifted silently near the space station orbiting Nexus 4. She looked at herself in the mirror. The device on her neck made her look like a Zoraxian female. Blue scales covered her skin. Yellow eyes stared back at her. The disguise was perfect. Her new identity was in place. She was now Kira Vex, a low-level data analyst transferred from a distant colony. The Empire was so big they couldn't keep track of all their people. Daniel's access codes had let her insert herself into their system without raising alarms. Jack docked her ship at the station. She had changed its appearance too. Now it looked like a standard Empire transport. Walking through the crowded hallways, no one gave her a second glance. Thousands of Zoraxians moved about their daily business, not knowing an enemy walked among them. The intelligence hub was a massive building. In the center of the main city, Jack showed her fake ID at the entrance. The guard barely looked at it before letting her through. Inside, she found her assigned workstation and began her job. Her real work happened during the night shifts. When most workers went home, Jack stayed behind. She plugged a small device into the main computer system. It copied files without leaving a trace. Night after night, she gathered information. Ship movements, security protocols, names of high-ranking officials. One night, as she worked, the door opened. Jack quickly hid her device. "You're working late again, Analyst Vex," said a voice. Jack turned to see Commander Vrex, her supervisor. His scales were darker than most, almost black. His eyes were sharp and suspicious. "The data analysis for the Sector 7 fleet movements is due tomorrow," Jack said, using the excuse she had prepared. Vrex moved closer. "You're very dedicated. The Empire needs more workers like you." "I serve the Emperor," Jack said, repeating the phrase all good Zoraxians used. "Yes, we all do," Vrex said. "But something about you is different." Jack felt her heart beat faster. Had her cover been blown? "You don't socialize with the others," Vrex continued. "You don't talk about your past. You work harder than anyone else." "I like to keep to myself," Jack said carefully. Vrex stared at her for a long moment. "I've recommended you for promotion. The security division needs analysts with your attention to detail. You'll start next week." Jack couldn't believe her luck. The security division would give her access to even more sensitive information. "Thank you, Commander. I won't disappoint you." After Vrex left, Jack continued her work. 3 hours later, she had what she needed from today's search, the location of a secret weapons facility. According to the files, it was where they were, developing the bioweapons Daniel had discovered. Back in her small apartment, Jack sent an encrypted message to a ship waiting outside the system. It was one of the few allies she had made, a smuggler named Ren who had lost his family to the Empire's expansion. He would pass the information to Admiral Foster on Earth. 3 days later, news spread across the station. The secret weapons facility had been destroyed. An accident had triggered a massive explosion. No survivors were reported. Commander Vrex called a meeting of all intelligence staff. "This was no accident," he said, his voice hard. "Our preliminary investigation shows sabotage. Someone gave away the location of our facility." Jack kept her face calm, though inside she felt a cold satisfaction. The first strike of her revenge was complete. "Security measures will be increased," Vrex continued. "All communications will be monitored. Anyone with suspicious behavior will be reported." That night, Jack sent another message to Ren. "Moving to Phase 2. Prepare the package." The following week, Jack started her new position in the security division. Her new access level opened doors to even more information. She learned about the Empire's defense systems, their weaknesses, their plans. She also learned something that chilled her blood. The Empire wasn't just planning to use the bioweapons on rebellious colonies. They were planning a full-scale attack on Earth. The date was set for 3 months from now. Jack worked faster. She couldn't wait any longer. Her revenge would have to speed up. The next day, a major Imperial warship vanished during a routine patrol. No distress signal was sent. It simply disappeared. The day after that, the Empire's communications network went down for 6 hours. When it came back online, key defense codes had been changed. No one knew who had authorized it. Panic began to spread through the Imperial forces. Someone was attacking them from within. Security checks became more frequent. Jack knew her time was running out. In her apartment, she prepared her next move. From a hidden compartment in her bag, she took out a small box. Inside was a device Daniel had been working on before his capture. It could bypass any security system in the Empire. "I'm using it now, Daniel," she whispered to herself. "Just like you showed me." The next morning, the station woke to shocking news. General Krax, the same one who had presided over Daniel's execution, had been found dead in his quarters. There were no signs of struggle, no wounds. The official cause of death was listed as heart failure. Only Jack knew the truth. The tiny, undetectable poison she had placed in his drink at the official dinner the night before had done its work. As the station buzzed with rumors, Jack received a message from Ren. "Package delivered. Resistance forces ready." Phase 2 was complete. Now it was time for Phase 3, making contact with the Resistance. Daniel's research had mentioned other species fighting back against the Empire. Jack needed allies for what she planned next. That night, as Jack prepared to leave her apartment, Commander Vrex appeared at her door. "Analyst Vex," he said, his voice strangely calm. "Or should I call you by your real name?" Jack's hand moved toward the hidden weapon at her belt. "We need to talk," Vrex said, "about the future of the Empire." 3 weeks later, Jack stood on the bridge of an Imperial ship. The disguise device on her neck now made her look like a high-ranking Zoraxian officer. The Resistance had provided her with a new identity: Captain Zira Vex, cousin to Commander. Vrex recently transferred from the outer colonies. Her mission was dangerous but clear. The Resistance had received information that Vex Corps, the Emperor's top intelligence agent, was coming to Nexus 4 to personally investigate the recent accidents across the Empire. Jack needed to get close to him. "He arrives in 1 hour," Vrex said, standing beside her. "Remember, he is very smart. He will be watching for anything unusual." Jack nodded. "I'm ready." "Are you?" Vrex asked softly. "Your anger has kept you alive so far. But Vexicor will sense it. You must control it." "I can control myself," Jack said sharply. "I hope so," Vrex replied. "Because if Vexicor discovers who you are, we all die." The Imperial shuttle docked smoothly. Jack stood with the other officers in a line to greet the important visitor. Vexicor was smaller than she expected. His scales were silvery, unusual for a Zoraxian. His eyes were sharp and missed nothing. "Welcome to Nexus 4, Intelligence Director," the station commander said with a bow. Vexicor barely acknowledged him. His eyes moved down the line of officers, studying each face. When he reached Jack, he paused. "Who are you?" he asked directly. "Captain Zira Vex recently transferred from Sector 9, sir," Jack replied, keeping her voice steady. "Sector 9, Vexicor repeated. "I don't recall authorizing any transfers from that area." "It was approved by Fleet Command, sir," Vrex cut in smoothly. "My cousin has expertise in pattern recognition. We thought she might help with the investigation." Vexicor stared at Jack for a long moment. "Yes, I suppose pattern recognition would be useful. Very well. Captain Vex, you will join my team." Jack bowed her head. "I am honored, sir." For the next few days, Jack worked closely with Vexicor's team. She was careful to be helpful but not too brilliant. She wanted to be noticed but not suspected. She fed Vexicor selected information about the accidents, just enough truth to be believable, mixed with false leads that would waste his time. Meanwhile, the Resistance was busy. They had sent Jack's warning to Earth through secret channels. Admiral Foster would make sure Earth was ready for the Empire's attack. They had also begun sabotaging the new weapons facilities, using information from Daniel's research. But Jack knew these were just delaying tactics. The real target had to be the Emperor himself. As long as Emperor Kazak ruled, the Empire would continue its deadly plans. We need access to the main palace on Zorax Prime, Jack told Kralthax during a secret meeting. I need to get to the Emperor. The old Zoraxian looked troubled. That is impossible. No one gets near the Emperor without months of security checks. Vex Core does, Jack said, and I'm getting closer to him every day. What are you planning? Kralthax asked, his good eye narrowing. Vexcore is going to discover a conspiracy, Jack explained. A big one. And he's going to want to tell the Emperor personally, and I'm going to make sure I'm with him when he does. Kralthax shook his head. That is too dangerous. Do you have a better plan? Jack asked. Before Kralthax could answer, Vrex burst into the room. We have a problem, he said urgently. Vexcore is requesting all personnel files from the past year. He's getting suspicious. Jack felt cold fear but pushed it down. Then we need to move faster. It's time to plant the evidence. That night, Jack accessed the Imperial network using Daniel's special device. She carefully inserted new files, ones that pointed to a conspiracy among high-ranking generals to overthrow the Emperor. She included just enough real information about the bioweapons program to make it convincing. The next day, Vexcore called an emergency meeting. I have discovered something disturbing, he announced. There appears to be a plot against the Emperor led by members of his own military. He displayed the evidence Jack had planted. The other officers looked shocked. This is serious, Vexcore continued. I must report to the Emperor immediately. Captain Vex, your pattern recognition skills were helpful in uncovering this. You will accompany me to Zorax Prime. Jack bowed her head to hide her smile. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. As they prepared to leave, Vrex found a moment to speak to Jack alone. You're getting what you wanted, he said. But at what cost? Vexcore is not a fool. He may be testing you. Then I'll pass his test, Jack said confidently. And when you reach the Emperor, what then? Jack's eyes hardened. Then I finish what I started. The journey to Zorax Prime took 3 days. Jack spent most of it in her quarters planning. She knew the palace layout from the files she had accessed. She knew the Emperor's routine. All she needed was a few minutes alone with him. But as they approached the Imperial capital, Vexcore requested her presence on the bridge. Captain Vex, he said when she arrived. I have been reviewing those personnel files after all. Jack felt her heart rate increase. Sir? It's strange, Vexcore continued. I can find no record of you serving in Sector 9. In fact, I can find no record of you at all before 3 weeks ago. The other officers on the bridge turned to look at them. Jack kept her face calm. There must be some mistake in the records, sir, she said. I don't think so, Vexcore said softly. I think someone has been tampering with our systems. Someone very clever. Someone who wants to get close to the Emperor. He stepped closer to Jack. Who are you really, Captain Vex? Or should I call you by another name? Jack realized her cover was blown. But they were already at Zorax Prime. The palace was within reach. She had one chance. I am exactly who I need to be, she said, and pressed a hidden button on her wrist. The ship's lights went out. Emergency alarms blared. In the confusion, Jack moved quickly. She had to reach an escape pod before Vexcore recovered. The Emperor was waiting, and Jack's revenge was almost complete. Jack reached for her weapon, but Vrex raised his hands to show he meant no harm. I am not your enemy, he said in a low voice. I know who you are, Jack Harper. Jack froze. Her mind raced through escape plans. She could kill him, but the noise might alert others. She could try to run, but where would she go? If you wanted to arrest me, you would have brought guards, she said finally. Vrex nodded. You're right. I came alone because I want to talk. May I come in? Jack stepped aside, keeping her hand near her weapon. Vrex entered her small apartment and looked around. How did you know? Jack asked. I've been watching you, Vrex said. At first I thought you were just a good worker. Then I noticed patterns. Every time you accessed certain files, something bad happened to the Empire. A ship would disappear. A base would have an accident. I started to suspect. So why are you here alone instead of arresting me? Jack demanded. Vrex's scales shifted, color slightly, showing emotion. Because I want the same thing you want, the Empire must change. Jack laughed without humor. I don't want the Empire to change. I want it destroyed. Because they killed your mate, Vrex said softly. The scientist Daniel Harper. Jack stared at him. How do you know about Daniel? I was there, Vrex admitted. Not at the execution. I was part of the team that reviewed his research before it was destroyed. Or supposedly destroyed. He looked at Jack closely. But you have a copy, don't you? That's how you've been doing all this. Jack said nothing. Your husband discovered something terrible, Vrex continued. The bioweapons. But he also found something else, didn't he? Something about the Emperor's plans for his own people. Jack narrowed her eyes. The Emperor plans to purify the Empire. The weapons aren't just for humans and other outside species. They're designed to target Zoraxians with certain genetic traits, anyone the Emperor considers imperfect. Vrex nodded. My family has those genetic traits. Most of the colony I come from has them. We're all marked for death, only we don't know it yet. He pulled up his sleeve, revealing a mark on his arm. This is the symbol of the resistance. There are many of us within the Empire who want change. We've been working in secret for years, but we need help. Why should I trust you? Jack asked. Because I could have turned you in days ago and didn't, Vrex said. And because I can take you to meet our leader. He knew your husband. Jack felt like the floor was moving under her feet. Daniel was working with the resistance? Not directly, but our leader, Kralthax, was in contact with him. Your husband was trying to warn both humans and Zoraxians about the Emperor's plans. Jack thought for a long moment. Working with the resistance wasn't part of her plan. She had always intended to work alone, but if Daniel had trusted these people, take me to Kralthax, she said finally. Vrex led her through back passages of the station to a service elevator. They went down many levels below the main city to areas Jack had never seen before. The lower levels were dirty and poorly lit. Few Zoraxians lived here. The Empire doesn't care about those it considers beneath it, Vrex explained as they walked. Down here we can meet without being watched. They came to a door that looked like all the others. Vrex knocked in a pattern. The door opened to reveal a large room filled with Zoraxians. But there were other species too. Tall, thin aliens with 4 arms. Short, furry beings with large eyes. Even a few humans. All eyes turned to Jack as she entered. Vrex spoke quickly in the Zoraxian language, explaining who she was. Murmurs spread through the crowd. A path cleared as someone walked toward them. The Zoraxian was older than any Jack had seen. His scales faded to a pale blue. One eye was cloudy, clearly blind. He stopped in front of Jack. Commander Harper, he said in perfect English. I am Kralthax. Your husband spoke highly of you. Jack felt a lump in her throat at the mention of Daniel. You knew him well? We exchanged messages for months before his capture, Kralthax said. He was a brave man. He risked everything to warn us about the weapons. Why didn't you help him? Jack demanded, anger rising. Why did you let him die? The old Zoraxian's good eye closed briefly in what Jack recognized as a sign of deep sadness. We tried. Our agent was captured trying to rescue him. The Emperor's security was too strong. Jack looked around the room. So this is the resistance. What exactly are you resisting? You haven't stopped the Emperor from building his weapons or expanding his empire. We've been gathering strength, Kralthax said, building networks, placing our people in key positions, but we've lacked the resources and information to strike effectively. He looked at Jack with clear respect. Until you came. In 6 months, you've done more damage to the Empire than we have in years. I have my reasons, Jack said coldly. Yes. Revenge. Kralthax nodded. A powerful motivation. But is it enough? It's enough for me. But is it enough for Daniel? The old Zoraxian asked softly. Would he want just revenge, or would he want to save lives? Jack had no answer for that. Kralthax continued. We need each other, Commander. You have information we need. We have the people you need. Together we could not just hurt the Empire, we could change it. I don't want to change it, Jack repeated. I want to burn it down. And then what? Kralthax asked. What about the trillions of innocent Zoraxians and other species who just live their lives under the Empire's rule? Do they all deserve to burn too? Jack thought of Daniel. He had believed in helping people, in saving lives. He wouldn't want innocent blood on his hands, even Zoraxian blood. What do you propose? She asked finally. Kralthax smiled. First, we need to warn Earth about the planned attack. Then we need to stop the Emperor's new weapons program, and for that we need someone close to the Emperor himself. I can get close, Jack said, but I'll need help. For the first time in 6 months, Jack felt something besides cold rage. She felt hope. Not hope for herself. She had given that up when Daniel died. But hope that his death might mean something more than just revenge. Tell me about this plan, she said. And tell me more about what Daniel was doing with you. Jack Harper stood in the crowd, her face hidden under a dark hood. Around her, thousands of aliens from across the Zoraxian Empire gathered to watch the public execution. Their scales shimmered in the red light of the 3 suns. Jack was the only human there, but no one noticed her. She had special technology that made her skin look blue and scaly like theirs. In the center of the square stood her husband, Daniel. His hands were tied behind his back. His face was bruised from the beatings, but his eyes still burned with the same fire Jack had fallen in love with 15 years ago. Daniel Harper, the voice boomed across the square. It belonged to General Krax, the second most powerful Zoraxian in the Empire. You have been found guilty of spying against the mighty Zoraxian Empire. The punishment is death. Jack's hand tightened around the small device in her pocket. She could blow up this whole square right now. She could kill everyone here and escape in the chaos. But that would not be enough. The Empire had thousands of worlds. Killing a few hundred aliens here would change nothing. No, she needed to be patient. She needed to make them pay slowly, painfully. Any last words, human? General Krax asked, his voice full of hate. Daniel looked up, his eyes somehow finding Jack in the crowd even though he couldn't possibly see her. He smiled. You think killing me will stop the truth? Daniel's voice was weak but clear. You're making weapons to kill not just humans but any species that doesn't bow to you. The galaxy will know and the galaxy will fight back. General Krax laughed. No one will know anything. Your research data was destroyed. Your human friends think you died in a ship accident. You will be forgotten, and our plan will succeed. Jack felt cold inside. They had no idea who they were dealing with. As the head of Earth's Special Operations Unit, she had resources they couldn't imagine. And as Daniel's wife, she had something even more powerful, a reason to use every one of those resources to destroy them. The general raised his hand. The executioner stepped forward with a long curved blade. Wait, came a new voice. The crowd parted as Emperor Kazak himself walked toward the platform. Jack had never seen him in person before. He was taller than other Zoraxians, his scales, a deep purple instead of blue. His eyes were yellow and cold. I want this human to understand what he has done, the Emperor said. His voice was soft but carried across the silent square. Your species is young and weak. You spread across the stars thinking you could challenge empires that have existed for thousands of years. Your death today is a message to all humans. Know your place in the galaxy. Daniel spat at the Emperor's feet. We know our place. Standing against bullies like you. The Emperor's face didn't change. He simply nodded to the executioner. Jack didn't look away. She watched as the blade came down. She heard the thud. She saw Daniel's body fall. She didn't cry. She didn't scream. Those emotions would come later, in private. For now, she needed to remember every detail, every face, every word. Most of all, she needed to remember the Emperor's face, the face of the man who had just signed the death warrant for his entire empire. The crowd began to leave after the execution. Jack moved with them, just another alien in the crowd. No one noticed the human woman with the dead eyes and the heart, full of cold fury. Back on her hidden ship, Jack finally allowed herself to feel. She sank to the floor and screamed. She threw things. She cried until she had no tears left. Then she pulled out a small metal box from under her bed. Inside was a computer chip, a copy of all Daniel's research. He had given it to her the last time they met, knowing he was being watched. The Empire thought they had destroyed all copies, but they didn't know about this one. Jack plugged the chip into her ship's computer. Images and data filled the screen. Daniel had discovered something terrible. The Empire wasn't just building weapons against humans. They were creating viruses designed to target specific DNA types. They could wipe out entire species with these weapons. But Daniel had also found something else. Weaknesses in the Empire's structure. Names of spies. Locations of secret bases. Access codes. As a scientist given special access, he had seen more than they realized. Jack opened a secure channel to Earth. Admiral Elizabeth Foster's face appeared on the screen. "Jack, where are you? The Federation's been looking everywhere for you." Elizabeth's face was worried. "I saw it happen," Jack said. Her voice was flat. "They killed him, Liz." Elizabeth's face fell. "Oh, Jack, I'm so sorry. Come home. We need to plan our response. The Federation Council is meeting to discuss." "No," Jack cut her off. "The Federation will debate and argue and do nothing. The Empire has spies in every level of our government. I'm doing this my way." "What are you planning?" Elizabeth asked, looking concerned. "I have Daniel's research. I know their weaknesses. I have the access codes to their military network." Jack's eyes were cold. "I'm going to take them apart piece by piece." "Jack, that's suicide. The Empire spans 3 galaxies. They have millions of ships, trillions of soldiers." "They killed the wrong man's wife," Jack said. "They should have checked who they were making an enemy of." Elizabeth was silent for a moment. "What do you need from me?" "Cover. Make sure the Federation doesn't get in my way. Tell them I'm dead too." Elizabeth sighed. "This is against every regulation. So is building weapons to exterminate entire species." "Give me 48 hours to arrange things," Elizabeth finally said. Then for all official purposes, Commander Jack Harper died in a ship malfunction near Saturn. "Thank you." Jack reached to end the call, then paused. "And Liz, if I don't make it back, make sure someone knows what really happened. Make sure they know what Daniel found." Elizabeth nodded. "Good hunting, Jack." After the call ended, Jack turned to her ship's navigation system. First stop would be Nexus 4, an Imperial intelligence hub on the edge of their territory. With Daniel's access codes, she could download their entire command structure. The Empire thought they had executed a simple scientist. They had no idea they had just started a war with the most dangerous human alive. And they would learn, planet by planet, ship by ship, just how merciless Jack Harper could be. Jack moved through the darkness of the ship, her steps sure and quick. The emergency lights cast red shadows as she raced toward the escape pods. Behind her, she could hear Vexicor shouting orders. She reached the pod bay and slipped inside one of the small vessels. Her fingers flew over the controls, starting the launch sequence. The pod shot away from the ship just as the main lights came back on. Jack steered the pod down toward Zorax Prime. The Imperial Palace glowed on the surface, a massive structure of glass and metal. She activated her ship's cloaking device, another piece of technology she had stolen from the Empire's secret labs. As she approached the palace, Jack switched her disguise device to show her as a palace guard. The ship landed in a service area where cargo was delivered. Jack stepped out, confident in her new appearance. Inside the palace, Jack moved with purpose. The layout was exactly as shown in the files she had studied. Guards nodded to her as she passed. None questioned her presence. She made her way to the secure communications center. According to the palace schedule, the Emperor would be there soon for his daily briefing. Jack entered the room and nodded to the 2 guards already there. "Relief. Shift," she said simply. One guard checked his schedule and frowned. "I don't see any relief scheduled." Jack sighed as if annoyed. "Commander Zex just ordered it. There's a security alert from Director Vexicor's ship. All personnel are being rotated. The guards looked at each other, then shrugged. Fine, it's been a quiet day anyway. As they left, Jack quickly moved to the control panel. She locked the door and disabled the security cameras. Then she waited. 20 minutes later, she heard footsteps approaching. The door slid open, and Emperor Kazak entered, followed by 2 personal guards. The Emperor stopped when he saw Jack. "Who are you? Where are the regular guards?" Jack stood at attention. "Security rotation, Your Majesty." "There's an alert from Director Vexcor's ship." The Emperor frowned. "I received no such report." "It just came in, sir," Jack said. "Director Vexcor discovered a plot against you. This caught the Emperor's interest." "What plot?" "Perhaps we should discuss it privately, Your Majesty," Jack suggested, glancing at the guards. The Emperor hesitated, then nodded to his guards. "Wait outside." When the guards had left, Jack locked the door again. Then she turned to face the Emperor. "Now what? Is this about a plot?" the Emperor demanded. Jack reached up and touched the device on her neck. Her Zoraxian appearance flickered and disappeared, revealing her human face. The Emperor stepped back in shock. "Who are you?" "My name is Jack Harper," she said. "You executed my husband 6 months ago." Recognition dawned in the Emperor's yellow eyes. "The scientist. He was a spy. He discovered your plans to use bioweapons against your own people, as well as humans," Jack said. "He was trying to save lives." The Emperor moved toward an alarm panel on the wall. Jack drew her weapon. "I wouldn't," she warned. The Emperor stopped. "So you've come for revenge? To kill me?" "That was my plan," Jack admitted. "For 6 months, that's all I thought about." "And now?" the Emperor asked. "Now I know there's something more important," Jack said. "Stopping your weapons program and saving billions of lives." The Emperor laughed. "You can't stop progress. The Empire needs purification." "Why?" Jack asked. "Why kill your own people?" "Evolution demands the strong survive," the Emperor said. "For too long we have allowed weakness to spread through our population. The bioweapons will target only those with inferior genetics. What remains will be a stronger empire." "And humans? Other species?" The Emperor waved a hand dismissively. "Lesser beings. Obstacles to our expansion." Jack felt cold rage building inside her. This was the creature who had ordered Daniel's death, who planned to kill billions more. "You're going to send a message," Jack said, her voice steady. "You're going to tell your military to stand down, to end the weapons program." The Emperor laughed again. "And why would I do that?" "Because if you don't, I'll kill you, and become a murderer like me?" the Emperor asked. "Is that what your husband would want?" Jack's hand tightened on her weapon. "Don't speak about him." "He was weak like all humans," the Emperor continued, begging for his life at the end. "That's a lie," Jack said. "I was there. He faced death with courage." The Emperor looked surprised. "You were at the execution? Impossible." "I've been inside." "Your empire for 6 months," Jack said. "I've learned all your secrets. I've turned your people against you. Even now, the resistance is growing stronger." A new voice spoke from behind Jack. "She speaks the truth, Father." Jack spun around. Vexcor stood there, having somehow bypassed the locked door. But he wasn't pointing a weapon at Jack. Instead, he was looking at the Emperor. "Father?" Jack repeated, confused. "Yes," Vexcor said. "Emperor Kazak is my father, though he plans to kill me too with his bioweapons. My genetics are not pure enough for his new empire." The Emperor's face twisted with rage. "Traitor, you would side with a human?" "I side with life," Vexcor said. "I've known about the resistance for years. I've been helping them secretly, trying to change the empire from within." Jack looked between them, her weapon still raised. "Why should I believe you?" "Because I let you escape my ship," Vexcor said. "I knew what you planned. I wanted you to succeed where I had failed." The Emperor lunged suddenly for a hidden panel in the wall. A secret door slid open. Before he could escape, Jack fired her weapon. The Emperor fell to the floor. "Is he dead?" Vexcor asked. Jack checked. No. Stunned. He'll live to face justice. Vexcor nodded. The people should see what he planned to do. A public trial will show the truth. Will they believe it? Jack asked. They will when they see his own records, Vexcor said, and when they hear testimony from the resistance. From me. From you. Jack holstered her weapon. I came for revenge. But Daniel wouldn't want that. He wanted to save lives. And you have, Vexcor said. The resistance is attacking the weapons. Facilities now. Earth has been warned. And with the Emperor captured, we can begin to change the Empire. 3 days later, Jack stood in a quiet garden on Zorax Prime. The Emperor was in custody. Vexcor and the Resistance were forming a new government. The bioweapons program had been shut down. She touched the small hologram projector in her hand. Daniel's image appeared, smiling the way she remembered. It's done, she said softly. Not the way I planned, but I think you'd be proud. Later that day, Jack boarded her ship. Admiral Foster appeared on the communication screen. Are you coming home? The Admiral asked. Jack looked out at the stars. Not yet. There's still work to do here. The new government needs help. Daniel's work isn't finished. He would be proud of you, Foster said. Jack smiled, the first real smile in months. Yes, I think he would. As her ship lifted off, Jack thought about the journey ahead. The Empire would change. Species would live together in peace. And the man they had executed so carelessly would be remembered not for how he died, but for the better galaxy his work had created. The Emperor had been right about one thing. Jack had been merciless, not in vengeance, but in her pursuit of justice. And that had made all the difference.